my panel is here. I mean, Jamal, interesting, Kristen was saying they thought they could win it.
Yeah.
They thought towards the end, it might be a little closer than we wish, but they thought they could win it. I mean, it's pretty stunning. It wasn't even close. It wasn't like it came down to the wire.
Yeah, I haven't seen the reporting on this in Indiana, but I talked to some of the Texas state legislators when they were doing the redistricting case down there.
Right.
They told me Donald Trump was calling people on the floor. He was calling state legislators on the floor to lobby them to make sure they were going to vote for the bill. I don't know if that happened here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we found out that it did. One side effect of having so many Republicans vote for this is that it makes it very hard for the president to target anybody individually. Maybe he goes after Rob Ray. He's the one person that he's named.
What's his name? Ray?
Right.
I don't know.
But 21 Republicans, it's hard to muscle up 21 state House Republicans in one state in the middle of a campaign in the midterms where you've got campaigns happening all over the country.
Gretchen, Trump just moments ago was talking about Bray. And here's what he said about him.
I'm sure that whenever his primary is, it's I think in 2 years, but I'm sure he'll go down. He'll go down. I'll certainly support anybody that wants to go against him.
I like that. He knows exactly when the primary is, too.
But what's his name again?
I mean, we shouldn't expect anything less from Trump. And I thought the biggest news coming out of Indiana in the last week would have been Indiana football beating Ohio State. But apparently, it's Indiana Republicans.
I watched on replay again last night, by the way.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Unless you love football like I do. But I digress. Anyway, the big news here is that apparently the state senators in Indiana have more guts and more gumption than the members of Congress on the federal level, because they were willing to stand up for what they believed in, and they thought that this was wrong, even though Trump was ordering it. And I love what that female state senator said. She didn't like his tone. I mean, how long have we all been sort of talking about the idea that this would not be applicable to our children? We wouldn't want them to speak the way that they do.
Well, she had that moment where she goes, you get what you get.
Yeah.
And all of us here, parents, are thinking, don't get upset.
You don't get upset. But the idea that tone might suddenly matter? I mean, this would be a mammoth breakthrough if that actually starts to happen.
Right, and then all of a sudden the context of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace Paul might come in. I mean, the Heritage Foundation, GOP aligned, conservative obviously, just posted on social media, President Trump has made it clear to Indiana leaders, if the Indiana Senate fails to pass the map, all federal funding will be stripped from the state. Roads will not be paved, guard bases will close, major projects will stop. These are the stakes, and every no vote will be to blame. You're an independent, but I mean, what about all this? And I guess he's supposedly going to be doing this in New York too. There's a lot of places that aren't going to get the roads paved if this is the standard, but they're not afraid of this.
They should be. I mean, good luck in a midterm election or in a swing state with that kind of a strategy. I think the bigger issue here is this is a victory for Indiana. It's a victory for Democrats, but it's a bigger victory for our democracy, right? Because elections should be fair. And I think this arms race that's going on between the Republicans and the Democrats is leading us to mutual destruction for our democracy. I'm against, redistricting in Indiana as an independent. I'm against it in California when they respond, and in Maryland with the same. And I think we need independent, non-political folks who can redraw our districts if they have to be redrawn. And you can't have one side of the playing field also acting as the referee. And that's what we've got here. And I think it's really bad for our democracy and has the potential to burn it all to the ground. But it's good to see people pushing back and people who are closer to the voters. This is a state senator who's going to hear it as soon as she walks outside.
And Joel, that's the thing. She's a state senator. That's local, right? People know her. She knows them. That is where people are right now in terms of what they want to hear and what they're saying to each other.
Absolutely. I got to tell you, I'm from Michigan, that's Indiana. Yeah. I grew up around Republicans like this. Very common sense people who believe in making the world work. They're conservative. Maybe they want tax cuts. Maybe we differ on some issues. But really kind of common sense and normal. Not like the MAGA Republicans that we are hearing about in Washington who are really out of control.
So, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that you bring up a really important point, that they probably heard from their constituents. Because I don't think they would have voted this way completely to defy Trump. Because they're on his team, right, for the most part.
Right.
So they must have been hearing from their constituents that and that's ironic as well, because if they're Republican constituents, it would have meant more votes, more seats.
Well,
for
that's
them.
pretty stunning that that's coming from the groundswell,
Yes.
and maybe that ties into some other stories we talk about, whether it be the economy or how people are feeling. Barrett, there was another thing that happened today, and this was also a major defeat for Trump. Actually, could have been something we could have had at the top of the program had this not just happened in Indiana, and that is Letitia James. So we had said a week ago, so just in case it's like a soap opera and you tune into the show, everybody, every once in a while, and you think, no, this is actually new. Letitia James was once again, a grand jury refused to indict her. Second time in what, 10 days or something like that, Barrett? 7 days. I mean, that's pretty stunning.
It is. I mean, I feel like you have all these former prosecutors on that keep saying this never happens. But I just want to make it even more amplified. This really never happens. Maybe you get a grand jury that gives a no true bill saying, no indictment. Maybe you get one every couple of years. To get 2 back-to-back grand juries saying, no dice, there's not enough evidence here for us to indict. I mean, that is unheard of. And it really makes you wonder, what are they presenting this grand jury with? I mean, remember, it's a one-sided presentation. She's not there presenting a defense. There's no arguments, from that side. So it is only the prosecutors putting forth the evidence. Clearly, not enough evidence to convince them.
So Barrett, this is interesting. Aaron Blake here at CNN, he looked at the numbers all the way back to 2013. And so when you say this just doesn't happen, and everyone says, oh, it's easier to indict a ham sandwich, whatever, you indict a ham sandwich, he found that grand juries declined to indict in 0.003% of cases.
Wow. I love it when the numbers support what my gut is.
So just to say, you're right.
Yes, great.
Okay, so there's 2 things, though, that I find amazing. 1, it just doesn't happen from the grand jury perspective. But 2, who brings the same case twice in 7 days? Don't you have to go back and say, well, what stunk about this? What do I have to redo?
Right. I mean, so usually the recourse was if you got a no true bill and you wanted to try to represent it to a grand jury, you had to go to main justice. You had to present the case, make the case. Why is this different? Did something just go awry? Was it a really funky first presentation? Did something go wrong? You had to justify it. Here, I mean, that step seems to have been clearly, glossed over because they went right back. I don't know if anything changed with their presentation, what evidence, or if they were just rolling the dice that a different group of people would see it differently. I mean, look, they must have something there because they did convince the first grand jury they presented this to return an indictment.
Right. That's the one that got thrown out because Lindsay Halligan wasn't allowed to be in charge.
Correct, which wasn't about the merits of the case. That was just, her position. So they did convince one group, but the fact that you've now had 2 back to back, I mean, there is no rule to prevent them from, going again and again. I mean, they can keep doing this as long as...
And they probably will because it's not just about winning, it's about intimidation.
Right.
That's the same thing you saw in Indiana. So they're going to keep trying to intimidate people, not even at the higher levels, but on down. Now they're taking on Senator Kelly. They're going to try at him. They may not win there, but they want to send a chilling effect across opposition and try to stifle any kind of political dissent. And I would argue free speech. So they're not just looking at the scoreboard. They're looking at the environment, and they want to continue to intimidate people.
They're less likely to. I mean, Letitia James is racking up legal bills, right? That's one thing we know, right? And they know that, and that does carry a cost, whether you're in the media or elsewhere. That's the chilling effect.
It does carry a cost, and people keep saying this never happens. You know what's different right now? Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and he's got his fingers all over the Justice Department. And I think what's really different is he's probably the one telling them, take it back again, keep going. Because Donald Trump doesn't like to be seen as a loser, and as long as they're fighting, he can say, we're still in the game. So what about that?
Do you think he is? Because what Barrett said, I mean, it would not seem to be professional. With all the people who are working on this. And I understand Lindsay Halligan hadn't tried a case and whatever. People can say whatever they want to say about her pejoratively. But within the Justice Department, within the Eastern District of Virginia, they wouldn't want to look stupid. And they don't, and they look stupid right now.
Yeah. But
so who is telling them to do this?
They're only trying to please one person.
So it is
and that's the president. When I sat here last week and you said, will they do it a third time? I said, 100,000,000%. And if you say, will they do it?
I should have said, how many days, Gretchen?
I know, yes. But I will say again that I think that they will go again. I mean, the interesting thing is, Barrett and I were talking about this off camera. They went to Norfolk, Virginia last week. They were in Alexandria, or Norfolk, and they were in Alexandria today. What are they doing with the different cities too, and where will be next? But I guarantee you it'll be
How
next.
can they do that? Like flip to place to place? How's that work?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a mechanism for doing that. We were talking about it. She's like, what is, I said, that doesn't happen either. I don't understand unless you have a different set of prosecutors. And so maybe you would go to that office, but maybe you couldn't get another grand jury pool. Again, these are sort of, I'm just hypothesizing here because this is not anywhere close to the norm or what we would see. I mean, you would never go back to represent a case to a grand jury in a different city. It really just strains my mind.
No.
I don't understand.
Okay, well, I'm glad, because to a layperson that seems really messed up. So I'm glad that it actually is.
That is the legal term, messed up.
All right, thank you all very much.